Right, you're welcome back. This is Talk Time. The foreign exchange policies of the CBN has been a cause of concern for investors with exchange rate of the naira to a dollar reaching a record, somewhere around 375 now. Now, from the prices of commodities in the open market to international deals with investors there seems to be no reprieve from the hard time that has hit Nigeria. Now, this morning we're looking at the impact of the Forex policy on foreign and domestic investments. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that the total value of capital imported into Nigeria in 2015 was half that of the previous year, with foreign investors pulling out of the country. But how is local investment doing? And that's what we'll try to find out this morning. In the studio with me is someone who you should know, former chairman actually, of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group. Yes, and you're also chairman of African Center for Business Development Strategy and Innovation.
Sure.
It's good to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you for the invitation.
So much has been happening to the Naira in the economy generally, with the CBN, for example, tightening its noose on accessibility to Forex, delisting some 41 products from access to Forex. But let me ask you, what impact is all of this having on the manufacturing sector?
I believe that the intention of government, and I believe the intention is to try and support local production, to give way to more productive activity in the country. That is the intention.
Yes.
But it is not being realized right now. The reason it's not being realized is that these things are not like, switch off light and switch it on. Nigeria has an industrial capacity that is essentially based on imported raw materials. And therefore, if there is no access to foreign exchange to import those raw materials, and you try to stop imported products from coming in, you are only going to increase the trouble for Nigerian consumers, because they will neither receive imported products nor do they get enough of locally produced products. So right now, the industrial sector is crying of, a fall in inventory. The raw material stock is depleting fast, and some of them, since like September, haven't been able to confirm an LC to be able to import raw materials and other critical industrial input. So this is where the trouble, the challenge is, and therefore it's currently a wind that blows no one good. The scarcity of foreign exchange has caused not only problem with the issue of having access to imported raw materials and other industrial input, other essential products, but also it has stimulated an inflationary trend that is even affecting local purchase, because every industry has two classes of materials. They have what they call the essential, which, for example, you are allowed to import through the official market, right?
Yes.
But there are a couple of other supportive items which you get from suppliers. Many of them are local suppliers. Some are also secondary importers, and they are going to the parallel market to buy at 300 and something, 350, 370, it got to 385 naira. So when they buy those goods to supply you at that, they will supply at a elevated price, increased price. Okay, you that is trying to source for some of your items at the official rate, and as you also know that even many people are not getting it at that quoted CBN rate, there's arbitrage, there's premium to able to get that money.
And that seems to be where the problem is. Business is, not even going to the official market for its Forex. They're relying on the parallel market.
Because the Forex market is not available. It's limited quantity, and you do not get this quantity what you asked for. And even what you get, you do not get at the proper price. If CBN is quoting 198, only very few people are getting at 198. That's the normal market response to where you have product scarcity and restricted control, where you have control over scarce product. people will have to put pressure, and premiums and arbitrages will begin to flow. So you have three challenges. First is that we're not getting the forex in good quantity, enough to buy materials. Those who are getting are not getting at the official price. There are mixtures. You buy a mixed bag. Thirdly is that the other suppliers, local suppliers, are buying from the parent market at inflated rates. And all that are putting pressure, so that even what you're producing, the prices have gone up. That is inflation. And the consumer is not in any way reinflated himself. He's struggling. People have lost jobs. People are underemployed. Salaries are not paid. So the consumer purchasing index is going down. And then you're increasing prices. So what the consumer is doing is just running away. I mean, what to call, my friend Bismarck calls parsimony. They have become parsimonious. Everybody is holding the little money that they have to meet their essential needs.
How does that then affect this government's objective, especially in the 2016 budget, to move from non-oil, sources of revenue to agriculture, manufacturing, and all of that? You rely heavily on imported raw materials.
Yes.
So does this mean that this objective is...
No, the objective will be achieved, but it's putting the right policies or the right policy mix to be able to accomplish it. First and foremost, it's always better to buy made in Nigeria, whether it is secondary or tertiary. At least value has been added. It's better that you buy something they brought in packages and completed packing here. You have labor that will pack it on the floor. That is some value addition than bringing finished product. So as you integrate backwards from tertiary to secondary to primary manufacturing, you begin to increase the value. Most of the manufacturing going in the country is secondary because we get primary raw materials and then formulate and then pack and then deliver. So if we get a space where there is all the support to the industry, then the industry can go to the primary point. And when it gets to that primary point, it will be able to better source its raw materials and be less dependent. That's why I say you don't switch. The policy of the country, industrial policy, was substitution. Let's substitute, import substitution. So that substitution does not go into primary manufacturing. There was a time we started the backward integration, but we stopped halfway when we began to force the breweries to develop their own sorghum and wheat and barley and all that. And some started, and they were beginning to make progress. But again, policy somersault, and they went to the least line of resistance. Because that's what happens to us here. We run into difficulty like now, and everybody is struggling to adjust. The moment oil prices come back, we just forget and go back and start dealing with easy money. And that's why some people are praying that this oil price should recover quickly.
So what you're saying then is that this whole situation with oil might just be an opportunity that, we can, cash in on.
No, it is. It is. If it's an opportunity, if we manage it well, it is an opportunity because as economists say, in the long term we're dead, but we need to be alive now. What is critical is for government to draw a distinction between what is required to keep Nigeria afloat and why we do strategic investment to bring primary manufacturing. That is the issue, and this is where we need policy tinkering.
So what would it require, in practical terms? I mean, if you were to advise this government, and indeed the CBN, that you've said, all kinds of policy somersaults and all of that, what, if you were to itemize some of this?
What I would do is this. You see, the issue is, what is this current situation? The current situation is that we are currently import dependent. That's the situation. Now, that's not good, but that's where we are. And it's as a result of poor planning or poor strategic planning over these years of oil boom and bust when we receive sufficient warning. So that's the issue. So what we need to do is to say, okay, we need to survive now, and we need to survive long term and cause a distinction. We are import dependent. So import dependent countries need foreign exchange. Okay? So our focus should be how to get foreign exchange, not how to stop it. Right now we're stopping inflows by all kinds of policies. It's missing the game. The issue is, how do we get this foreign exchange that we need? That is, if I'm to advise government, if oil is not giving us enough, who else will give us more? Let that focus be. And the greatest people that can give foreign exchange are foreign investors. People who are coming to invest in the country. They bring their dollar, they bring their pounds, and they create jobs. They're not bringing the money to save in the bank. They are bringing them to create jobs and cause the wheel of production to go on. They are the people who should be welcoming with open hands. And when we need to, the reason they are not coming now, two reasons. Primary is that the total economic environment and policies of this country have not been fully developed.
Not encouraging.
Not been fully developed, not necessarily. Then number two, the foreign exchange policy. Let me tell you.
Yes.
You're a foreign investor. You have $1 million. You want to bring into some sector. You know, when you bring it through the official sector, because that's why you can bring money. For government to recognize it, has to come through the official window. So you bring $1 million. You get how much? 198 million naira. At the official market. Meanwhile, somebody who has $1 million in Nigeria and goes to the parallel market gets almost 400 million. So why would you, does it make sense for you? Even the business you want to do, can it generate that return from 1 million, or 100 million naira, 190 or 200 million naira to double? So this is the issue. So the investors are waiting to see Nigeria adjust its rate to a level that will attract them to bring in the money.
So would you be then on the same page with people who are calling for a devaluation of the naira?
It is not, I don't call it devaluation. I call it currency adjustment.
Currency adjustment downwards or upwards?
You should do both ways. Now that the undercurrent economic reality, which you're dropping oil price and everything, your weight of your naira has reduced because naira is backed by productivity. Productivity, GDP growth is low. Your naira value goes low. When your oil prices come and your income grows higher, your naira should appreciate. The problem is that in the past, we depreciate, we don't appreciate. And we cause dislocation. So we have a policy that will allow us adjust upwards and adjust downwards. That's the prices, the way prices of everything happens. Commodity, clothes you wear, the food we eat, everything goes up and down.
That's where demand and supply comes
in. So you cannot see high demand, you keep price fixed. It defeats the law of economics. The price of products, commodity or anything is met where demand equates supply, then the price is fixed. Now the demand is so high and you are keeping price at a level. And it's causing it's dislocating people. It's causing foreign investors to keep their money. When these people are ready, we'll bring it. Two, it's causing ripples of economic challenge to everybody. Inflation is leading to corruption. To call it the name, a country like ours that is fighting corruption should not allow anything that will give room for corruption. Yes, because if there's not enough in naira, you are selling the dollar at 198 somewhere, and it's being sold at 398, 380 somewhere else. Anybody that gets the 198 goes straight to sell at 380. What is it?
I had a guest yesterday, an economic expert whom you should be familiar with, Henry Boyo, who says that, look, the real issue here is that there's too much naira in circulation, and when the supply is too much, what happens? At least the basics that we learned in economics, demand, you know, the value is actually totally almost not there. Is that at the root of the problem we're having now?
Well, Boyo has this, like, you know, economists have one-handed, economics are left-handed. He has his view, which has always been that rather than sell oil in naira and convert it, oil in dollar and convert it to naira, we should give dollars to states. That has been his view, and that is why he believes there's so much naira. But that naira is not standing in emptiness. The naira is benchmarked against products. I have a naira in my company now, but it's for me to buy raw materials. It's for me to buy equipment. It's for me to buy machinery. So it's not idle naira. But the reason why it is standing idle now is that I do not have the conversion, the exchange. I do not have the dollar to convert it. You get it? So why that it looks as if I have naira, or if you go to the banks now, there's plenty of naira, because we're not buying what we need. And my fear is that if this continues in much longer, we shall go to product scarcity. Inflation is going up, which is a sign that too much money is pursuing too few goods. And if it continues, it could be worse. So governments need to tinker. I think I share the nationalism of President Buhari, and many of us nationalists don't want our naira to become worthless.
Yes.
But you have to match it against economic reality. The economic reality is that we need more people to bring us this dollar that we need. And to be able to bring it, we need to open the door for them to come.